What's good, my tribe? We are at day 51 of the 90-day YouTube challenge. So yesterday I talked a little bit about occult magic and the Western esoteric mystery tradition that I've been sort of getting into more recently in the past few years here. And I thought I'd go a little bit deeper into that subject. So I left off talking about the comparison and the difference between low magic and high magic. So low magic is sort of this natural magic that was tend to be practiced by a lower income class. And this included techniques that were a little bit more personalized, rituals that weren't very rigid. Oftentimes they used materials that were found in the wild, such as plants, herbs, and stones, bones, and they would often use spells and incantations that would rhyme. That way it'd be easier to remember. And this was sort of a tradition that was usually passed down orally, maybe sometimes in written journals, but for the most part practiced by a lower income class. And this is where we have witchcraft and paganism, and there's many different types of sort of folk magic, paganism, ranging from sort of the Celtic tradition. We have the Norse, Germanic traditions, Brazilian, South American traditions, all various types of indigenous, nature-based witchcraft. And nowadays, a lot of modern witches and the modern practice of witchcraft actually stems from the religion of witches, which is called Wicca. And Wicca itself actually doesn't have a very long lineage or tradition. And it was actually formulated in the 1930s by a guy named Gerald Gardner. And Gerald himself actually drew a lot of the techniques and formulas from a different form of magic called high magic. So this is the other end of the spectrum here, more specifically from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And the Golden Dawn is the tradition and the system that I myself am into and have been studying and practicing personally. And this is also one of the most famous orders of magic and secret societies in general. So the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was founded in 1887. It was founded by three Freemasons, William Westcott, William Woodman, and Samuel McGregor Mathers. And they were looking to create a group that would focus less on sort of the fraternal initiations, as Freemasonry traditionally was just for men. And they were looking to kind of expand more into the mystery traditions and actually create an order or a organization that would get more into the practical aspects and go deep into magic itself. And so the legend has it that Westcott acquired some cipher manuscripts, sort of these papers that were written in a code, from a person known as Fraulein Sprengel, I believe is the name. And this person may or may not have been a real person. Some people say that it was just a fictional character that was made up by William Westcott to give the order a sort of legendary beginning and a sort of more a better status. Back in those Victorian times of England, it was better. It would attract more people if there was some sort of lineage attached to it, or if people knew that this was a legit order. It would have been hard to kind of just start something from scratch. So people claim that he might have created this person, but either way, the cipher manuscripts were supposedly containing the, I guess you could say, the original formulas and ceremonies that would eventually become the rituals for the Golden Dawn. And yeah, so the Golden Dawn itself actually is sort of a combination and a recapitulation of various Western esoteric practices and philosophies. So primarily it was drawn from material that was Judeo-Christian, Greek, and Egyptian. I mean, they also had some Eastern kind of yogic techniques kind of slipped in there, but for the most part it's Egyptian. A lot of the ceremonies kind of represent Egyptian myths and ceremonies, and a lot of the rituals and ceremonies and the structure of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn actually is drawn from Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism. So, you know, going back in time, if you say that this was born out of the Rosicrucians and this sort of current of esoteric magic was actually brought over by the Knights Templar. And so they got it from ancient Mesopotamia. So basically all of this kind of started in ancient Sumeria, in Mesopotamia, made its way by the Knights Templar to Europe, and kind of expanded from there. So yeah, and then I guess another kind of thing to mention about this, so it was the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was started in the late 1880s. I think it was 1888, and it was you know, joined by a lot of actually reputable people. Most notoriously was Aleister Crowley. And Crowley actually, you know, he gets a lot of bad rep. He's been called the beast and the most wicked man of the earth, and he's also, from what I understand, one of the most misunderstood individuals. I mean, I myself have never, you know, haven't gone too in-depth into Crowley's works. I've more just been studying the material from the Golden Dawn, but from, you know, a lot of people in the occult world, they say that Aleister Crowley was actually, you know, pretty demonized, and he was actually a pretty, you know, pretty smart and occult genius. And so Aleister Crowley was actually one of the people who ended up causing a lot of drama in the Golden Dawn. He rose to the ranks pretty quickly and ended up claiming that he was sort of higher than he was actually within the order itself, and kind of broke off and created his own religion, essentially, which would become Thelema, and ended up publishing a lot of the ceremonies and the rituals of the Golden Dawn. He did this with Israel Regardry, and so he ended up breaking his oath of secrecy. You know, whenever you get initiated into this, you know, Hermetic Order, you supposedly take an oath of secrecy, and you're not allowed to expound any of the mysteries and the teachings that you learn. So yeah, that's, you know, that's a pretty good overview of the Golden Dawn. You know, what do the practitioners and the members of Golden, you know, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, what do they practice? You could say they're into divination. You know, you learn astrology. Alchemy is another big subject. Ceremonial rituals that you can do. They often use create talismans and sigils to kind of create connections and contact with entities. As we were kind of talking about in the video yesterday, a lot of the big part of the occult magic and the Western esoteric tradition is communicating and engaging in in a relationship with other entities. And the Golden Dawn, was no different. They tend to do this. They tend to consecrate and create various magical items such as wands and swords, planetary magic, all of these different things, as well as a lot of the structure actually comes from the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah being the mystical tradition of Judaism. So kind of the Golden Dawn is sort of a syncretic system that kind of combines all of these various things into a complete system in itself. So yeah, that's a little bit about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is actually one of my passions and interests that I've been into recently. Something that I've been studying and practicing myself. So I hope you all found that pretty interesting. Yeah, we'll end it here. So I appreciate you for listening. As always, I hope you are well. With love and light, may peace be with you.